have some fun with it. Come and dance with us. It's cool.
At one point, we lost our apartment because we didn't realise that we were on the...
And we have had some people say, hey, you've inspired my boy to dance, which I just love.
That's cool. That's amazing.
Love. I really want to get dance out there a lot more because the dopamine hit that you get from doing that, it's well worth it. So I want to share that.
Because it is hard. Like, dance is hard to make money in New Zealand, even in Australia. Today's guest, Nerida, has over 500,000 followers, was on Dancing with Stars, and is pretty well known in New Zealand as a professional dancer. Yet she still has a day job that supports her career. And when I asked her about it today, she talks about how her day job is what allows her to do the dancing, and the dancing allows her to connect with her children, and that is more important than anything. Anyway, tune in today and see how she did it. All right, so welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, thanks for coming on. I would like you to quickly introduce yourself, and then we're going to jump straight into it.
Cool. My name's Nerida Jantti, and I've been a dancer now for a very long time, and I've always loved to dance. And during COVID, I decided to start dancing with my boys as a way of getting together and spending some quality time together. And it kind of made me realize how much quality time was spent during our dancing time. And we would have a lot of laughs and a lot of fun. And we kind of realized that it was going to be something that was growing into something for a bigger audience, other people who wanted to get involved and have a dance and, not necessarily be exposed to other people with that, but really wanted to have a bit of fun with it. So this is kind of how we got into this. I mean, I've never really been a social media kind of person.
Yeah.
But it's crazy how things happen though, right?
That is. And so that is good, because I was going to ask you where this journey started, but your social media journey started in lockdown.
Yes.
So that's
yes,
it.
Yes.
Was there anything, like from a brand perspective and like a publicity perspective, what happened before that? Like, is there anything before that?
Well, I moved to New Zealand for work,
Yeah.
and I was cast on Dancing with the Stars as one of the professional dancers way back in 2005 for the first time. And I competed on that show for a few years.
Yeah.
Really loved it. It was something that was completely left field.
Yeah.
And it made me realize that anybody can learn how to dance.
Yeah.
And the joy that it brings people, even though it's a challenge for a lot of people, when you actually perform or you get out on the dance floor, it's such a buzz, and the dopamine hit that you get is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So from then, after competing in that for a few years, I decided I think I would like to get behind the camera.
Okay.
So I became dance producer, head choreographer for the show.
Yeah.
And the rest is history from there. I was a competition dancer before then, but, as we get older, you kind of move into other things, bit of coaching, things like that. And after Dancing with the Stars, COVID hit. Actually, right in the middle of one of the series, we were locked down, so we had to shut down. But, I to stop dancing for that long was not good. And a way to get my boys and I kind of interacting with each other was to come together to dance.
Got it.
I have neurodiversity in my family.
Got it.
So my eldest boy is on the autism spectrum. Pretty sure I've got something going on there too, which is cool. But it was a really good way for us to kind of get together and do something that we all enjoyed together. And, part of what I do now is being inclusive of everybody. Everybody can do it. So, really trying to get that message out there. Yeah,
nice. That's great. I knew, obviously, that you're in Dancing with Stars, but I didn't realise how far back it went.
Long time.
Yeah, which is awesome to be part of that. It's the reason I don't know is because I was pretty much gone from the country almost the entire time that you were on. That's why I don't know that thing. Right. So that makes sense to me now of where you're at. And then that brand that was starting to be built before you even started to dance on TikTok. When you first started on TikTok, did people remember you from those days? Was that a part of it? Yeah,
they kind of did. It's amazing memories people have, actually.
Yeah.
And people think that we won, but we didn't. We got second. I got second twice.
Wow.
But it was something, as I say, even watching it on TV, it draws you in because you watch how people struggle through it, and then you see, highlights of, oh gosh, this is so amazing, it's so much fun, and you get to see the whole journey for them as well. So people are drawn in that way, and they kind of want to experience that as well in a way. So I've kind of carried that on through teaching wedding dances or private lessons or whatever, and it's really benefited me having done that show. It's really opened my eyes to a lot of different things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sure those exposure moments, especially on something like TV, because of the authority that still comes with TV.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The opportunities must be endless.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, endless as much as New Zealand can make things endless.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, for
Yeah.
dancers, it's pretty scarce. So a lot of dancers do
Yeah.
travel overseas to
Yeah.
work or to compete. But
Yeah.
I was really lucky that I could do a lot of the stuff
Yeah.
here. And as I say, you know, working even with neurodiversity on Dancing with the Stars, and so many different personalities and strong personalities. You know, people that were successful in their own right.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden, they had to trust somebody that they never knew
Yeah.
to make them hopefully not look like a Muppet on live TV, right?
I love that. That transition to dancing on socials.
Yeah.
I want to dig into that a little bit because, like, it's not actually normal for people who are really skilled at a particular art form or something to then jump into something like that.
Yeah.
Often because they will call it an art form, which it is, of course, but then they think it kind of diminishes the art form by jumping in and doing something like that.
Yeah.
Like, how did that play out for you?
Well, for me, it wasn't really about showing the art form so
Yeah.
much. I mean, we tried all different styles.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a ballroom dancer, right?
Yeah.
A ballroom dancer doing hip hop.
Yeah.
It's not natural.
Yeah.
But you know, why not give it a go?
Yeah.
But another reason why I did it is homeschooling for me was a nightmare, right? Anyone with kids doing homeschooling, especially boys,
Yep.
they were just like, nah, not about it. So I thought this is kind of a way for them to learn different skills as well.
Cool.
You know, learning coordination, learning teamwork, learning a bit of a work ethic,
Yeah.
as well as, you know, making it as fun as possible.
Yeah.
So it was about that side of it as well, not just, hey, I'm a dancer, you know,
Yeah.
let's show off with this, but it was just helping my boys learn something that was a little bit left field, and just to show that dancing is cool.
Yeah.
Whether you're a boy or a girl, it doesn't matter. It's cool, right?
Yeah, that's awesome. Because I wondered that when I saw it, and then your history. Like, I find it. We work in our business with a lot of people who are very good at what they do in all fields,
Yeah.
not just in art forms, but in like engineering or legal or whatever. And they find it really hard to then go and communicate that through social media because of like this fear of like, no, I've got to be the best or I've got to look the best and everything. But what you said there is actually just you needed a purpose higher than yourself almost to do it, your reason for yourself, which was teaching boys, which I think is quite interesting. But like, was that just out of necessity because of like how hard it is to homeschool boys once we got into lockdown, or was it like quite a considered decision?
Yes and no
Yep.
to both.
Yep.
You know, at first it was just to spend some quality time with
Yep.
the boys.
Yeah.
But then, you know, I kind of realized how it affects other people on social media as well.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I had no idea it was going to take off the way
Yeah.
it did. You
Yeah.
know, I think I had 900 followers or something to
Yeah.
start with. And it wasn't about gaining followers. It was about connecting with other people
Yeah.
and saying, hey, look, we're going to try this style. Do you want to try it with us? And so they would remix our reels and show us their version. And we actually get to meet people from all over the world that whether they're families or solos or whatever, it's just such a cool way to connect with people. And so, you know, bringing back to that inclusion thing, doesn't matter who you are, what you do, have some fun with it. You know, come and dance with us. It's cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
How fast did that start to take off? Because I do remember early on seeing you.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I was kind of trying to read up on how to, you know, work Instagram, because it was Instagram that I started with. I didn't really do too much on TikTok in the beginning. And it just basically said, post as often as you can, be your authentic self.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's part of what we try to carry through the whole time is we are our authentic self.
Yeah.
We don't have special lighting. We use a phone for filming. We'll occasionally do a live to have a chat to our followers just to say, hey, you know, we are real. You know, we're not doing this for profit because, let's face it, in New Zealand, you don't do it for profit. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not a country that we can make money on Instagram.
Yeah.
So it was purely just to connect with other people and just to learn as much as I could, and also teach my boys that there are other people out there that appreciate what they do. And, you know, you put this together and you can have some success. And from that, we started to see, oh gosh, you know, we're getting quite a few numbers. Like, I think one of them, our most popular one, was Staying Alive by the Bee Gees. We had 16 million plays on that one thing. And it was like, how did that happen? So, you know, you try to mimic that again, flop. You do something completely left field, boom, it goes up again. It's like, how does it work? But it was just, as I said, you do have moments of, oh, wow, we're getting a lot of people watching us. It's kind of addictive that way.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, you know, you're doing it for fun.
Yeah.
You're not doing it for profit, and you're doing
Yeah.
it for learning yourself, and also, as I said, teaching my boys.
Yeah.
I never stand at the front of the
Yeah.
room. I'm always pushing my boys
Yeah.
forward, because it's not about me particularly, even though I'm learning a lot.
Yeah. How did talk about how the boys, how they were throughout that journey.
Yeah.
Just explain their thoughts and processes going, because that's been quite unusual for a kid. All of a sudden, 16 million people seen them.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, they didn't have their own accounts because they were so young.
Yeah.
And I still monitor them very closely.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of crazies out there, right?
Plenty.
In the beginning, they were teaching me,
Yeah.
Mum, this is how you do a TikTok. This is how you do an Instagram, So we were kind of following some trends and, seeing where that goes. But then we started to create our own thing, which they got a real buzz out of. And they started to see, oh, hey, people are actually watching us for who we are rather than, because we're copying somebody else. And I would show them a lot of the comments because, as you can imagine, a lot of them were about them because it was about my boys, my boys and I dancing together. And as they got older, I started to think, gosh, are they going to get bullied? Yeah. That was a thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking at school, were they going to get bullied? Yeah. And, truth be known, there was a couple of instances where the kids were like, oh, you're that kid that dances with your mum, and Jet would say, but yeah, my mum's cool.
Yeah.
Imagine if you had a mum like mine sort of thing.
I love that.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah,
but,
that's amazing.
And I get it. People would say, oh, he should be outside playing rugby, which he does, doing something else, which he does. But, I found it really cool that my boys would still come back at the end of the day and say, hey, Mum, should we do this? This looks like fun.
Yeah.
And I know that it's a rarity. I get it.
Yeah.
There are not a lot of families that will willingly do that together, especially boys.
Yeah.
But I just love that they're still willing to do it with their mama bear,
Yeah.
and just to make it cool for other boys to try.
Yeah.
We have had some people say, hey, you've inspired my boy to dance, which I just love.
That's cool. That's amazing.
Love.
Yeah.
So good, we've worked with some neurodiverse kids. We've worked with Star Jam, which was just so rewarding, it was just so much fun. They do a big concert at the end of the year, and we got to choreograph some of that and go
amazing.
along, and it was just such a cool thing. That's where I find reward.
That's cool.
Doing the social media thing.
How old are the boys now?
Case, my oldest, is just about to turn 18.
Wow.
I know, right?
Wow.
And my youngest one, Jet, will turn 14 this year.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. It is an interesting thing to have boys, especially in their teenage years, to do that sort of thing with their mum. So that's that's something that should be hats off to you. You have obviously raised great men who want to do that sort of thing. Because I can imagine at my age, at 15, if my mum had asked me to do that, I'd be like, no, bloody way. You know what I mean?
I think maybe if I asked them when they were this age, they would have gone, oh, no, what are you talking about?
Nah.
I don't want to do that. But because they started from a younger age, they're kind of okay with it. I mean, admittedly, we don't do it as much as we used to, because now we're released again after lockdown. We're leading our own lives. But every now and again, we'll, maybe once or twice a week, we'll come together and do something
That's
for fun.
cool.
Yeah.
I love that. Tell me about when it became, when did the moment happen where you're like, oh, there's something more here than just us making fun videos? Because obviously that brand has led to opportunities and you guys doing stuff. When did that moment happen for you? Or did you kind of already know that it would? Or where was that?
Well, I didn't know. And to be honest, a lot of our followers are international.
Yeah.
We're getting more Kiwi followers and Australian followers now, sure. But as I said, it's not so much about how many followers, it's about how we connect with people. And so, a lot of our stuff that we were doing really appealed to Americans. Yeah. And I was kind of thinking, how can we make something of this? Because there's so many people are asking, oh, can you guys show us how to do this move? Or do a tutorial on this? Or, So I kind of thought, well, maybe, because I don't see a lot of dancing in schools here in New Zealand. They used to have, there have been some programs in the past. And so I thought, well, first of all, go along to my kids' schools and teach them how to dance for their school dance at the end of the year, which was great fun.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And I thought, well, why not develop something that, and it doesn't have to be school kids and it doesn't have to be kids. So you can go onto a website and you can learn this style of dance, in all different levels, all different age groups. So that's why I thought, if I can do something, if I can develop something like that, then, possibly that would, financially help me out a little
Yeah,
bit,
yeah,
but
yeah.
also, it'll give people access to more different dance styles that they can try at home
Yeah.
or at school or whatever. So I really want to get dance out there a lot more, because the dopamine hit that you get from doing that, it's well worth it. So I want
Yeah.
to share that.
I love that. That's great. And so that is something you built and developed as you went
Yes,
through?
it's still in progress.
Yeah, okay.
It's still in
Still going
progress.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
And
it.
also, sharing my journey through speaking
Yeah.
as well, having a chat to people, because as you probably noticed, I can talk a lot.
Yeah. Which is good.
And I enjoy
Yeah.
speaking. So, just kind of branching out a little bit, maybe trying a couple of things here and there. But I'm just going slowly, because I still want to keep it authentic.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it anything that's not us,
No.
So, it's in the pipeline.
Okay. Before we dig into that, because I definitely want to dig into where your future's going.
Yes.
Tell me more about, were there opportunities that came through? Were you getting many brands and stuff wanting to do, collabs with you and activations with you and stuff like that?
We did get a few requests for collabs. We did get several. I mean, some of them in the beginning, we were kind of like, look, we want to stay within New Zealand.
Yeah.
But we notice now that our brand is more worldwide. So we do collaborate with some international companies that are within New Zealand as well.
Yeah.
We do get, we work with a lot of Kiwi companies too.
Cool.
On a regular basis, some of them are just a one-off type thing. But, nothing big, nothing that's
big,
too over the top. And as I said, if sometimes you kind of got to go, maybe that's not really our thing. We wouldn't just say yes to everybody.
Yeah.
We were invited to do America's Got Talent a while ago, but again, it's not really us. We kind of trying to keep it authentic as much as we can. So yes, we do collaborate, but we're pretty selective.
Yeah. And is it and tell me if you want to answer this or not, but is it your brand and your sort of business, if you will, that you sort of your kids work with you on, or is it a collective thing that's all of your guys?
Well, with the website that I'm developing, it is me. Yeah. My sons do work with me on that. Absolutely.
Cool.
And if anything comes of it, they'll certainly share in the profit. But I try to kind of branch out a little bit to show, because I do show some of my students in some of my reels and other fellow professional dancers and things like that. Because as I said, I wanted to keep it open to try and be as inclusive as possible. And I never wanted to put any pressure on the boys or for them to do anything that they didn't really want to do.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Do they do things, especially now that one of them's 18 and going to, do they have their own brands if they built their own social media? Is that something that they're real interested in now? They just kind of do it as a project with mum?
They do have their own social media. Yeah. My eldest boy is fascinated by trains.
Oh, yeah.
So he does little vlogs and things like that every now and again. And my youngest one, he's rugby, scootering.
Yeah.
He's all about different sports. He loves his sports. So he'll post little things like that. But nothing.
Yeah.
Neither of them are particularly keen on doing anything too hardcore.
Yeah.
It's more about just being kids.
Yeah.
And, they'll join in with me every now and again, and they have fun doing that, especially if we get invited to go and teach a class around the country or something. They're all for it. But, they're not really keen on building their own brands.
Yeah. They're still kids.
Yeah,
They're still
exactly.
young. They're still young.
Exactly.
And so then you talked about, your other students and things. So that's, the main, I guess, the breadwinner for you as a business, and is you teach classes and things?
Yeah, I teach privately.
Okay.
Funnily enough, it's not my main job at the moment.
Yeah.
I came to New Zealand as a poor amateur dancer and just wanting to, represent New Zealand at Worlds with my partner at the time.
Yeah.
So I work in ophthalmology. So I've worked in medicine my whole life.
Got it.
I've been in the same company now for 25 years. And still there part-time. So that's kind of, that's how I earn my money. And my dancing is what I do for the love. I had no idea of that. Yeah.
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 Oh, that's amazing.
It's tricky to make decent money as a dancer here in New Zealand, I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. That's actually one of the questions, it's kind of what I wanted to know. I didn't realize that you worked in that field as well.
Yeah.
Because it is hard. Dance is hard to make money in New Zealand, even in Australia. Which is a lot bigger country here, it's still a hard place to make money in. And I was wondering to myself, was there enough coming through the pipeline of the brand? Because I have met people with brands about your size in terms of social media who can earn an income. Maybe not one to support 2 teenage boys, but like definitely enough to earn an income. So I was wondering what that it is, but that makes so much sense.
Yeah.
So you've had a job for 25 years, you now work part-time, pays a mortgage, takes care of the base of it, which I think is quite interesting and important for like people listening to hear, because we talk about this a lot. Like, even if your job part-time, as long as it pays your rent or your mortgage, then it allows you to focus on the other things.
Absolutely.
Like, how, like, from your perspective now, like, and you don't have to give like hard, fast numbers, but like as a percentage wise, like how much is the main job supporting your total income sort of levels?
80%, I reckon.
See, that's great for people to hear, I think.
Yeah, if not more.
Yeah.
And I'm also teaching my boys, because both of them love performing arts.
Yeah.
Case wants to be a drummer. Jet wants to, play guitar.
Yeah.
You've got to have something else.
Yeah.
You've got to find something else that you're at least interested in to work with at the same time. Because that's just the reality of things, whether you're any kind of actor, singer, performer of any kind. You really got to have something to back you up.
Yeah. That's so responsible. That's so responsible. No, because like we have lots of people who come on this podcast who are like all different walks of life.
Yeah.
But a lot of them who are trying to make it, but they live really like humbly, I suppose, like quite no money coming through the door regularly, feast and famine, and it's like because they aren't willing to like do a boring job to pay the bills. Well, it doesn't have to be boring, but doing something that's not their passion to allow them to focus on their passion. But then you've reached these highs of highs in your career, right? And especially in a country like New Zealand, Dancing with Stars, the producer, the teaching of all of it, and the competitions, and then the fame that's come from the social media channels, whilst also holding down this other job for 25 years. That's insane.
Kind of got to do it. Yeah. I mean, to be able to sustain it.
It's insane.
True worker.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
No, it's such a good thing. I'm really happy to hear that that is the case, because I didn't know coming into this podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, reality.
But it's so good because like people, like say for our brand, they'll see our brand, they'll see, there's a couple million followers across all of our profiles that we have. And they'll think, oh, that's how they're making so much money with those followers and what they're doing. I was like, no, there's a entire agency behind this that grinds out all day long to be able to fund this part. That this is like, we call it doing cool shit, like we want to do cool shit. That's why we come to work.
Yeah.
But it's like 1% of the time.
Yeah.
If that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because actually most of it's just like not monotonous, but it's day in, day out. It's part of the grind.
Yeah.
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 Interesting.
Yeah. And I know even with, if I'm developing a website,
Yeah.
I'm all about the creative side. I'm all about, I just want to do the dancing side. I
Yeah.
don't want to do the admin side,
Yeah.
but it's got to be done. If you've got to work at whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
To be able to work.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Was there any part of you, like, have you ever throughout this period then, whilst you're going through all of that, juggling the job, juggling all the other things, gone, man, I wish I could, like, I've seen these other people in the US and stuff, like, make these huge careers out of it. Has any part of you gone, how do I do that? Or you're okay with the life and style that you had it?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
To be honest, I never set out to be famous or, whatever, but to do what I do here, if I was doing that in the States, I think it'd be so much harder, because you do get a lot of messages. Even now, I must answer 300 messages a week.
Yeah.
Just, people just want to have a chat or they make a comment or, whatever. But to kind of be able to do that as a business, it's got to be tough. And I think you potentially would lose the love for it a little bit. I dance part-time. I love it and I've always loved it. I do think, though, if I did it full-time, it wouldn't become as exciting.
Yeah.
And that is the reality of it. Doing Dancing with the Stars for 3 months. At the end of those 3 months, I never want to do it again. But I put my hand up again for it every year.
I love it. That's so funny.
Yeah. And I still dream about it. At nighttime, I still think about, choreography and I still think about, what this show could do and da-da-da. Yeah. So it's still there. Whether it comes back to New Zealand or not, I don't know. But... it was such a huge part of my life. But at the end of that time, you're just mentally, physically, creatively done.
Yeah.
So, it's really nice to have it in spurts like that and then just go back to reality for a while.
Yeah.
and then, possibly go back to it again. But yeah, I do love the balance. You've got to have balance.
Yeah.
And, even with exercise, I do Pilates to mentally balance myself.
Yeah.
Because it quietens the crazy busy brain down.
Yeah.
So you really got to find a balance no matter what you do. Because
Yeah.
then the love that you have for this thing that you do is always there.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's such great advice. I think that's so great advice for people watching, because a lot of people are young, start their careers, that listen to this, and they hear me saying the same sort of stuff about it, and like, oh yeah, that's just Stan. He's just a grumpy old man saying the things that he's saying. But like, especially my staff, maybe. But it's good for people to hear, like, from other people, that it's not just some random thought that I might have, that actually, like, so I'll go on other people's podcasts from, like, business level podcasts, and they'll always ask me, like, how do you take such risks in your business and do the things that you do and grow? And it's like, well, because actually, like, I've hedged my bets with lots of other things. Like, I worked in Australia, and I had a really good career there, where I built up a large superannuation fund. So me and my wife both had that, whereas enough now that once compounded interest takes us through to 65, will be enough to retire on. There's all these other things that we've done that have allowed us to go, we've done all the work and the foundations, that actually this business we don't need this business to retire on. This business is for us now, as we're having fun. I love business. The way you love to dance, I love to do business.
Yeah. And
so I can play and have fun here without having to worry about, will this thing allow me to retire?
Yeah.
And most people don't. Most people are trying to go in and go, no, this has to work. If this doesn't work, I'm over.
Yeah.
I'm done for. That'd be like, imagine going into your dancing career that way. You'd be so stiff, because you'd be like so stressed the whole time.
And you get injured and you're done.
And you're done.
Do you know what I mean? So I mean, I've got friends who are playing rugby, from a young age, or parents who have got kids playing rugby, getting into the junior All Blacks, and it's like, have you got another career behind you? Because, it's awesome that you're there following your dream, but realistically, you've got to have something else behind you.
Yeah.
And as I said, it's just the same. You've got to have that balance, work, life.
Yeah.
So you love your work, both different types, especially if you're doing something that's completely different from each other, like dance and medicine. I mean, pretty different.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's worked for me so far, and long may it continue. You know.
Where did that mindset come from?
To be fair, when I left school, I moved away from home when I was 17, so I could train in Sydney. I'm Australian. Yeah. And so I was living, an hour and a half away from my family home. Yeah. And I thought, and my mum was great. She led, I follow her example. She said, you've got to make your own money to do this. Yeah. At the end of the day, if you fall over, I'm here to support you. Yeah. But, you really need to do that. And we were living off $40 a week for food at one point, just so we could have lessons and go traveling and things like that until we got some sponsorship. But it teaches you so much about the value of money, about the value of working hard, to be able to actually achieve your dreams. I mean, you get the very small percentage that reach a high doing what they love to do. Yeah. But that's a very small percentage. Little, and you can't bank that that's going to be you. No. It might be, but it might not be. So it's good to have something on the side. Yeah. Is this sounding familiar?
Too wise for them. Have a backup plan.
Have a backup plan.
100%.
Always have a backup plan.
Got to do it.
That's real interesting to hear that, because that's almost my story too, which is that, like, I moved away from New Zealand when I was 21. I moved to Australia, so I went the other way to you. But I was the same. Like, I moved to Australia during the GFC, and so just beforehand, actually. So we got jobs. I was with my brother, my cousin. So three of us were living. GFC hit. Work disappeared for those two. I was the only income coming in. Trying to support them. I was getting like maybe $600 a week to support three of us, pay the rent, pay everything, like, throughout this GFC process and stuff. At one point, we lost our apartment because we didn't realize that we were on the strip of the Gold Coast. What do they call it? The old IndyCar strip at the Gold Coast. We didn't realize the apartment, because we were new to the Gold Coast. The apartment we rented, the reason they gave it to us is because we were willing to sign a 6-month lease, which ended the week before Indy, which they obviously could rent out for tens of thousands of dollars in a week. Yeah. And so then we couldn't get another apartment because there was also Indy, which we didn't know about, so we couldn't rent one. So we lived in our car for 6 weeks, and just like everything I had to. And then I said to my brother, like, three of us can't live in this car. he had an opportunity to live. So then I paid his rent to live with someone else, buying us all food. But it taught you how, like, every single dollar,
Yeah.
where does it go?
Yep.
This money isn't easy to come by, so we got to do it, which then meant, like, okay, I can't get in that position again.
Yes.
How do I, what's my nest egg? Like, what do I
Yes.
build up around me? Like, how do I have it? And that's now, like, why I talk about hedging my bets everything in business.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to go real hard for this, but if it falls over, that's okay, because this is still good. And I'm okay with this level. This level's not bad. It's just not as good as if I win over here.
Yeah.
But a lot of people like this, like you, like Lee's probably going, oh yeah, I've heard this before, because it's something I always harp on about. And a few of the guys in the team who are like really good with their finances, everyone else looks at them going, how do you know like to do this, you know? Like, and it's like, because we've all been there where we've had nothing, or we've had very little to do with. It's quite a hard thing. So that's good advice, because I don't usually have this conversation on this podcast, because hey, they don't, right? Most people are just like, you got these young kids who are blowing up on Instagram or TikTok, get off on these brand deals. They might only get $2,000, but for them it's like, oh my gosh,
Yes, quit everything.
$2,000.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go all in.
Yeah.
The next paycheck 6 months later. Yeah, so that's really interesting and great advice. Like, obviously we have the business owners who come through, but they're different. They're probably closer to the way we both think, which is, I mean, they're running a business first, the brand second. But a lot of young creators, like, they are chasing the dream. And it's like, you can chase the dream, right? But you still got to have a backup plan.
100%.
Yeah. That's great advice. That's great advice. I'm just, it's rolling around in my head now, because, like, I can't stop thinking about, like, how many people I've tried to say this to.
I must say it to my boys once a week.
Yeah, good.
Because, I don't want to squash their dreams. I
Nah.
get it. Have a dream.
Yeah.
But you just got to be sensible about
Yeah.
it. You've got to back it up with something. What else do you enjoy? What else are you good
Yeah.
at,
I love that.
And it doesn't matter if you've got your fingers in a few pies,
Yeah.
because something's going to work, something there, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super important. And I'm
Yeah.
so glad my mum taught me that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, tell me a little bit about the future. Like, so you got this website, you got this other thing. It's like, and now that I know your philosophy on money and life, how does that evolve? Like, grow? Because, like, your brand's still growing and it's still great.
Yeah, it's still very new,
Yeah.
really. I mean, I've done social media now since,
Yeah.
2020, so it's in its 5th year now.
Yeah.
But as far as growing a business with it,
Yeah.
I haven't quite started that. Like, it's
Yeah.
as I said, it's on its way.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do it right.
Yeah.
And it was because somebody approached me and said, hey, are you making any money doing
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
And I said, well, no, but I don't really know how to.
yeah.
And so they said, well, you've got all this experience behind you. You've got all this knowledge in this in this area. They kind of guided me in a way and showed me that there's a big gap in the market for people to learn how to dance easily. Rather than being intimidated by going to a dance studio, or even someone going to the gym. You've actually got to get up, go and do it. Whereas with this, it's online. Click a button, there it is. And you
Yeah.
can learn it for yourself. Go, oh, actually, I really like this. Then you can go to classes if you really want to do that.
Yeah.
Or, for teachers at school, what am I going to teach them for this, dance curriculum? Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
So there's something there that's available so teachers can learn how to teach their students.
Got it.
Or they can just put the television on and I can teach them, because you've got two screens. You've got one of them is my son and I
Yeah.
demonstrating, and I'm talking you through it at the same time. So there's this, it's a different way to learn.
Cool.
Because, as I said, through Dancing with the Stars,
Yeah.
you learn that people learn differently. Some people learn very quickly visually, or some people are a little bit more. I can always tell an engineer when they come into the dance studio, because they learn very differently
Yeah,
from
yeah,
everybody.
yeah.
Precision is key.
Yep.
So you've got to learn pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to read the room pretty quickly when
Yeah.
you're teaching a dance class. So, doing it online, you've got to be really diverse. You've got
Yeah.
to make sure that, anybody can do it and that it's fun. I mean, at the end of the day, it's got to be fun.
Yeah.
As far as discipline with technique and things like that goes, if you want to do that, you can go to the advanced part of it, or just try it as a beginner, just so that you can actually have a bit of fun with it. Because, like I say, I'm trying to get this message out there that you try it either by yourself or with a friend. Challenge a friend to do it. The dopamine hit is next level. It is so
Yeah.
good. And you actually forget about everything else just for that amount of time that you're doing it.
Yeah.
And so all the busyness, all the craziness in your mind just disappears because you're
Yeah.
focusing on this one thing. You're focusing on the present and the person that you're with at the time.
Got
So
it.
that's how it brings people together as well. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that, you know, this can be passed on to whether it's schools or couples or just individuals, just to
Yeah.
give their mental health a bit
Cool.
of a positive kick, you
Yeah.
know, because I mean, I know that here in New Zealand, I work, well, I'm very good friends with Sir John Kerwin with his
Cool.
Mighty Foundation. You know, he deals
Yeah.
with a lot of mental health with kids
Yeah.
in New Zealand, and you know, dance is something I think that can really help with that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, having danced with classes or you know, school classes, I mean. Just as they quieten down and they kind of do this as a team for a bit,
Yeah.
and then they go back and do their their normal thing, and they've had a bit of a dopamine hit in the
Yeah, I
meantime.
love
So
it.
it's so cool. It's just a really good way to kind of re-energize and
Yeah.
get you going again.
So then this website and the platform as well that you're building is like a subscription based sort of
It
thing.
is, yeah. So
Yeah.
whether if you're a school, you can subscribe
Yeah.
for a term. You've
Yep.
got a whole term's worth of
Cool.
work there, or if you're just doing it individually. Gosh, I really want to learn country line dancing. I want to learn
Got
salsa.
it.
I want to learn hip hop. You can download these modules and learn from
Love
beginner,
it.
intermediate, advanced, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's my style. So when I say advanced,
Yeah.
it's just faster and there's more content.
Yeah.
But it's fun. Like we always have fun
Got
doing it. Because it's my son and I doing it together.
Cool.
So.
I love it. Your
Yeah.
oldest son doing it with
My
Your
youngest one,
doing it
yeah.
with you? And are you using to build this, is it you're using a plug and play software platform to use it, or are you building it all from scratch?
Building it from scratch.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So that's not cheap.
No.
And so that's just all self-funded through yourself,
Yeah.
and from your job,
Yeah.
I guess, because
Yeah.
it's 80% of your money coming in.
That's it.
Wow, what gives you the confidence to invest like that? Because I know these things aren't cheap to build, even if
No.
you do them cheaply.
Yeah. Well, yeah. As I say, I did have someone that gave
Yeah.
me that push
Cool.
that I needed.
Yeah.
And I use them as a bit of a mentor.
Cool.
Which is great.
Yeah.
And they only interact as much as I want them to. And it's just given me that extra little bit of a push, just so that I go, because you do doubt yourself.
Of course.
You do have moments where you go, oh my gosh, can I do this?
Yeah.
I'm forking out this money to do this. Is it going to work? I can only try.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not breaking the bank by doing it. I'm doing it very slowly.
Yeah.
But, if it does work, then that's a great second income.
Yeah.
To keep things going. So, because, kids aren't cheap.
No, no, not at all. No, not at all. And on that, with when it's building, one of the things that's quite interesting, so you've got this mentor who's helping you through that process. I think that's always quite an interesting piece that people miss. And, it's the old, I'm really good at what I do, so I go make a business out of it. But that usually is never a good idea.
No.
Because business is its own thing.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
need no business.
Yeah, that's it. Because as I said, I'm the creative side.
Yeah.
I know nothing
Yeah.
about business.
Yeah.
My life partner's a businessman,
Yeah.
and so we have chats every now and again. He's very
Yeah,
helpful.
cool.
But to have someone that's outside the box
Mm-hmm.
come in and kind of chat to me about it and just
Yeah.
go, hey, yeah, you can do this.
Yeah.
This is how you do it. Oh, okay, I see. So you try and learn as much as you can on your own, but it's so
Yeah.
important to have somebody behind you to to just mentally help you, just to
Yeah.
back you up, educate you.
Yeah. What if you think about growing that in time, is your goal to just grow it through the Instagram and the TikTok? Do you have any other platforms that you utilize?
I have been advised several times
Yeah.
to go onto YouTube.
Yeah,
and I
was
totally
gonna
get
ask
it.
that,
Yeah. But it's like I said, I've still got to keep my work-life balance.
Yeah.
I could spend all day
Yeah.
doing social media stuff.
Yeah.
And for a while there during lockdown, I kind of was, but now I don't have that time. But I still want to do it right. So rather than start something up and for it to not kind of do so well, TikTok is a perfect example. I just kind of started posting to that every now and again. And our
Yeah.
following's going up on TikTok.
yeah.
Not that I'm I'm not particularly bothered about that
No.
because it's a completely different audience.
Yeah.
And we love our TikTok family as well,
Yeah.
don't get me wrong, but
Yeah.
it's just interesting how the platforms work really
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah.
And as I say, just being able to keep everything going, keep a house, keep the kids going and all that sort of thing, you kind of got to do just little bits where you can.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And I know
YouTube,
LinkedIn's another one that I need to get into.
yeah, LinkedIn. I was going to talk. I'm the preacher of LinkedIn in this world. Especially, I mean, LinkedIn's a whole other conversation, right? But YouTube is hard.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think that like what I've learned over the last 5 years in this business that we've built is that if I was to do YouTube again, which we will do many other things on YouTube, is I won't do another show, if you will, on YouTube. That we've got a bunch of podcasts, we've got a dating show that we create and all this other stuff that we have. I won't do another one until I've got like an expert YouTube team behind it and just like be able to afford that team.
Yes.
I realized that like as I've gone through this process that in every other platform, quantity wins.
Yes.
Always. And on YouTube, like it doesn't work that way. It does if you want to take 10 years, maybe you could slowly build something up. But actually, like YouTube's one of those ones that actually you can have a video go viral tomorrow, and there's really ways of how to do that.
Yes.
You can actually engineer it quite easily if you have the right people involved. So YouTube's, I get your stance on it there. But what about like YouTube Shorts? What about just a Shorts channel that's separate?
Yeah, that's what we've got.
Okay. Oh, so you do have the YouTube Shorts channel? Okay,
but
cool.
As I said, it's
Really
only
low.
got 10 videos or something on
Okay,
it. You know, it's
okay.
very minimal. And I am planning on developing that more because I understand, from what I understand about YouTube, is it's more about people advertising through you. It's all about advertising. If you can get people to pay you for advertising, you've got it sorted. If you have a certain amount of, and it is about followers on YouTube. It's about subscribers. So if you have over a certain amount of subscribers, then obviously it opens the doors a lot more for you. Yeah. I mean, you know, same to an extent with Instagram, where you know things open up for you. The more followers you gain, the more things open up to you as far as techniques or tools you can use for advertising. Yeah. But as far as earning money through Instagram and TikTok, it's very much about collaborations. And like I say, we're very selective about that, so we're not into that. I mean, the website, hopefully I can direct a lot of my followers to, and that would be hopefully a benefit. But I want to keep my Instagram and everything fairly authentic.
Cool. I would do the same. Like, so the reason I wondered about YouTube Shorts is like just repurposing content that's appropriate, your evergreen content on Instagram, TikTok, and just let it build in the background. Because you're right, you get it built up, you can earn ad revenue without having to do anything. Without doing anything, you're making videos. But the fact that you've got the website coming, my thoughts are that I wouldn't even necessarily push that through your Instagram and TikTok, apart from having it there on the link. And I would figure out ads. Something that I talk to a lot of people about is they think, I built up this really good organic following now. I want to sell them some stuff, and I'm going to make all these videos to sell them stuff. But they never came for that. They didn't come to you to see you push a website.
No.
That's not what they're here for. But if you take your likeness and your brand and create an ad and run it as an ad, we understand what ads are when we see them on Facebook. So if I see you on an ad, I'm not going to be like, I didn't ask for this. It's like, but I know how the platform works. I get this amazing platform because the ads exist. We all get it. Now, the way that those ad platforms work, they're so sophisticated that you could make a couple sets of ads, run your ads on Facebook and Instagram, and sell your website really easily. Because you got such a good brand already. So it's like that combination of stuff. Like where a lot of creators go wrong is they like get 100,000, 500,000 followers, whatever they might get, and they're like, okay, cool, I'm going to push my product on them, and all you do is end up alienating your audience.
Exactly. I mean, for me, with the website, the difference is between the two, even though I do have some tutorials on Instagram, you only get 90 seconds. And to be able to, teach someone, because people are saying we want more, and I'm like, well, I can't do this on Instagram. So that's another reason it's potentially moving over to the website.
And I would definitely once you get to that stage, just partner with someone. Like you can already make your own creative because you know how to do it and sell your product. They don't have to be real. Like people always think that sometimes the creative has to be like really slick and do its thing and whatnot, but actually like to push a product because it's your brand and your son's, it just has to be really authentically you and how you normally talk to a camera. but then just run it as an ad. I reckon you'll sell the shit out of it
I hope so.
if you run it as an ad. Just like my own.
Just test it out a little bit.
Yeah, if no one else has given you this advice, I'd hope to say the only thing you take away from today is if you ran those ads because of your brand, you'd fill it.
Yeah.
Like you would.
You've got me thinking.
Yeah.
You've got me thinking.
Trust me. We run ads for ourselves as of this year. And I've never been into running ads a lot because we're professional services.
Yeah.
People don't buy us necessarily from an ad. They're never going to make a transaction from an ad.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. So I've always done it from, that's why we have such a big brand that we built, because I knew that was the best way. But then we hired a media director who's now running the ads parts of our business for our clients. And he showed me, mate, everyone already knows you. So we don't have to get them to buy. We just have to get them to talk to you. So now we can he just puts my likeness on a video or whatever. It gets me to talk. And we made some pretty crazy ads, haven't we? Me literally like telling people they're idiots for not doing this thing. Like just some pretty bad ones. And they've just gone through the roof. They've worked absolutely great.
Yeah.
And it just showed me the power of like, if you've already got a brand, how powerful the ad platform now works.
Yeah.
You know, Nike can run ads and sell crap loads, but a brand new shoe company that no one knows running ads, it's going to cost them a fortune to get the ads to work. So that's definitely something. The other part about the LinkedIn, like, because I'm a bloody broken record about LinkedIn and why people should use it.
Yeah.
Like in our business, like we've got 35 staff now, about to hire another 5 or 6, and which is quite large for a social media agency.
Yeah.
But we were at 12 before I did anything but LinkedIn. Like all of that just came from LinkedIn. And especially in your space, like the speaking gigs, those opportunities that come up through like more like professional service-based stuff that you can do. All of my stuff comes from LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Like all of it.
I think more so LinkedIn is going to be something that I have to get into over YouTube to an extent.
I think so too.
Because I do think that YouTube is going to be too similar to my website.
I think so.
So, yeah, that's why I've kind of held off a little bit.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think so too. Like you sound like you're just building your own version of YouTube that has a paywall in front of it, which is fine and great. Whereas LinkedIn's like a different side of your brand and allows you to have this like conversation as a speaker, as a personality, rather than the dance. Well, you're still going to have the dance brand behind you, but it's a whole different thing that you come through with, which is quite exciting. So tell me, like, if you had a crystal ball and you could see like where this world takes you into the next sort of 5 years, where would you hope it takes you?
To be fair, not very, as far as geographically, not very far.
No, not geographically, but just like from a career and just a brand perspective. And
to be honest, I'm hoping for the best. Like I think if I can build the website and my platform to a certain extent where it can financially support me, so I can spend more quality time with my boys and in time more quality time with my partner and my friends and things like that, because I love people, so being able to do this and still teaching dance and speaking to different people about my journey and hopefully inspiring them in some way to get out there and get moving. That's where I'd like to be. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've always loved working in medicine. It's fascinating. It's ever changing. Yeah. But it does get to a point where I kind of like, even though when I retire, I'd still like to be teaching dance. Yeah. I'd still like to, do my creative side of things. So if I can build that to a certain point where it can financially support me, great. And, I don't have to be a millionaire. Yeah. It's just to a point where I can live every day as I do now.
Yeah. I love that. That's such practical advice. That's the theme of this whole episode. Just be practical about it. Yeah. Do the same things you meant to do every day. 100%. Don't be an idiot.
Yeah. Don't be a dick.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. We're running out of time at this point. But, hey, I really enjoyed that podcast because it's so different to the answers that I get from a lot of the people that we speak to. Yeah, because, people are young and they do dumb stuff with their brand and their money. And, you just like, no, just do this properly and you'll succeed. Yeah. And I think that's such good advice, that if you just take your time and you work on it slowly and you honor the people who are watching your content, you'll get the outcomes that you want long term.
Fingers crossed.
Well, it's worked for you so far.
Yeah, so far so good. And we're still growing.
Oh yeah, you are.
Yeah, we'll see.
No, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thanks
I really
for
appreciate
having me. It was fun.
Yeah.
I love sitting and chatting.
Yeah.
That's part of my channel too. I just chat.
Oh, this is my entire job. This is all I do all day. They just see me walking around chatting to people. I love it. Yeah, it's the best. Thank you.